This is a quick video to get you started with the SUAS plugin. I've got a JTAC on a hill here and some enemy forces that I'm hoping to attack with my first person SUAS view. First I need to check the plugin is installed. To do that I go to MACE System Settings, over to the Plugins tab and open MACE Extensions and look for the Small Unmanned Aircraft Systems plugin and make sure it's ticked. It shows me here that it's going to appear in the Analysis toolbar under Info Status windows. If I look in the Analysis toolbar, this is the plugin. If I open it up, I can see that there's no platforms or pairings selected. So the first thing I need to do is drop an FPV drone into the mission. I've dropped an FPV drone here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pair it with my JTAC. Right click on the drone, go down to SUAS options, hit pair to operator, click on the JTAC. And what this does is it equips the drone and the JTAC with the two radios required to operate. So I've got an analog VDL transmitter and an FPV control receiver on the drone. And I've got an FPV controller transmitter and an analog receiver on the JTAC. Now they're paired, I can look at the settings. Come over to the settings, show on screen display. This works in Armour when you're in view mode 1 on the drone. So if I select the drone now and attach in view mode 1, I get this on screen display. And this overrides the normal HUD. Video downlink RF and battery drain and controller RF. These are things that we can turn off the modeling of in the plugin. So if I turn off controller RF modeling, when this gets outside of the network range of the controller, it will continue to operate, whereas if I turned it on, you wouldn't have control. The drone would start to climb to see if it get a signal, but if you can't get a signal, it will eventually crash. Video downlink, this will degrade the video downlink, but this requires a setting in Armour. So if I go into Armour and go to Preferences, and I look under Display Spectrum, Analog Video, if I look at this mode here, if it's set to automatic, then it will take instructions from the plugin about how degraded the video should be. And I can set a maximum degradation level there. Battery drain. This will drain the battery based on the aggressiveness of the maneuvers, and I can see the battery level up here. And that is based on battery parameters that I enter here. I can enter cell configurations and capacity. So I'm going to tick all three of those on. I've also got some view settings, so I can change the type of HUD on the screen. There's 3 to choose from at the moment. And the HUD tells me things like the frequency I'm on, what my battery level is, what my height is, what the time is, what my call sign is, whether I'm armed or disarmed, and whether the stability org is on, and where my position is. And this dot here is like a velocity vector, so it shows where the drone's actually going, and this is the speed across the ground. I can change how this looks. I can reduce the viewport size, which is especially useful when you're using FPV kit, so that you can see all of the writing within your field of view. I can reduce the overall field of view of the drone, so if I bring it right down, you can see it's actually reducing quite a lot. And I can change the angle of the camera and where it's mounted on the drones. So I'm just going to have it mounted at about 15 degrees so that when I'm going forwards it looks right. And I can change the position of the camera above, below, to the left, to the right, and forward and back on the drone. Lastly, the controller. If you have a controller, you can plug in like a Betaflight controller or a TX16 or a Tango controller. Any of your drone controllers should work if you can plug it in via USB-C and it's plugged in when you start up MACE. If not, you would refresh the controller in the MACE joystick settings. First of all, I need to find my controller in the list. I'm using an RM T16 here, and just like MACE, you can go in and program individual buttons just by hitting the program here and moving buttons around like this. And I can go down and program the axes by moving any axis around like this. And then you can program buttons like the arming button and the weapon release button. Once you've finished programming, hit stop. You can export that so that you can reload it in another mission. Otherwise, this will save with the mission. Okay, pretty much good to go. So I could just fly my drone right now. What you can do, obviously, is use MACE to determine where you actually would have a good signal for your drone. Don't forget, you've got the mission rehearsal tool. So we can zoom in on our controller here and open a mission rehearsal toolbox and go to the ESM radio plot and see where he's going to have good transmitter coverage at, say, 3 feet above ground level. So we can see that actually if I fly south to hit these vehicles, that's not too bad. I would need to fly south and around to hit these other ones. I might need to climb up. How high would I need to climb to go over here? Probably looking at 50 to 100 feet to get across that gap without losing transmission. So it does take into account jammers as well. So if we were to put in, I don't know where those jammers are that are in the mission, but if I put in a Lear 2 jammer here, so once again I can do my transmission plot, but this time I can see the effect of the jammer on that plot. And if you didn't have a jammer but you wanted to just check and assume that a platoon here might have a jammer, you can click virtual jammers and then just go and click on one of the entities in the platoon, or as many as you like, and then you can change the power output of that jammer and see what the consequent effect on your control link would be. So once you've figured out where you can actually go, we can close that, and I can now reattach to my drone. And then if we play the mission, as soon as I move the joysticks, I now have control over my drone. I can move my camera up and down with my camera buttons. I can arm my drone, so this time when I'm armed, I will be able to damage things by hitting them and blow myself up. But now I can't control my drone because it's red, because the JTAC has been killed. I'm going to revive the JTAC, and now I can control my drone. If I just regain control, there we go. And I've got a good, nice signal here. And I can fly off towards my targets over here. And when I want to, I can arm the drone so that I can explode when I crash into things, but I'll save that. And at the moment I've got stability augmentation off, which means I can do all of these sorts of maneuvers. And we can see if I click on an individual line, we get a lot more information. So you can see on the line I get the control signal and the video signal, and the control signal's just gone a bit red. We've still got just about enough control, but you can see the actual signal here. And what happened there was I got shot out of the sky. This time I'll turn on foam weapons. I'll move this person back and revive again. Take back control. And now they're shooting at me and I'm not dying, which is great. And I can head over and try and see what I can see. What I'll do is I'll fly a little bit of a distance away And we can see what's actually happening with the video signal. So my battery is now down to 50%. My controller signal's at 24%, but my video signal's good. So what I'm going to do is, just for simulation purposes, so that I can continue to fly, I'm just going to turn off the simulation of the control signal there, so that I can actually get nice and low and start to see the degradation here of the video signal as it decreases as I get further away. I go down behind this hill, start to lose the signal. I've got control signal, so I've just throttled right up so that I can get back up to where we can be seen. At any point I want to recharge the battery, I can just click on this battery symbol and get a full battery. I can customize just this platform, frequencies and camera positions, rather than just the plug-in, and same with the battery as well. So I could have a number of platforms linked here and have different HUDs, different spectrums, different positions of cameras, and all of that for individual platforms. And lastly, I can edit the control system. Control system comes up here. I can edit the thrust curves by moving these. I can go in and edit the min and max thrusts and the propeller arm angles, and I can edit the performance in each mode. So in the acro mode, which is what I'm in now with the stability off, with the level mode, which is with the stability on, and in the autonomous mode, which is MACE controlling motion via waypoints. Of course, I can import and export all of that as well. And this will save with the mission. So although you have a quadcopter model, you can override the quadcopter aerodynamics by editing this. Okay, and lastly, I can unpair from the operator if I want to just go back to it being normal, or I can edit the control system by just clicking on that same option. It's just in a different place. So that should be all you need to get started with the SUAS controller. And now I shall go and arm myself and crash into an enemy vehicle.